And I think we're live. Hi everybody. I was just putting a quick little story on Instagram to remind everybody that we are indeed going live. It's noon, actually a couple of minutes past noon, I think. Okay, looks like we're on. How's everybody today? It's pretty muggy here. Let's call it yucky, not sunny, and I'm perfectly fine being inside and about to draw. Rick! Now, let me tell you more details though. You might know already by now that I'm using a fountain pen today. It means that I'm going to go into details before I go into the general face. So for 1 hour, it could be that realistically I draw his eyes and maybe a little bit of his eyebrows. So let's keep our expectations, realistic on this one. I draw very slowly when I draw with a fountain pen, because again, it's all about the details and it's all about just like digging in and trying to find all the things that we can put into, all that cross hatching and all that good stuff. So, hi everyone. I recognize a lot of familiar names and that makes me very happy. All right, so I'm going to start, and first I need to tell you that today I'm drawing in my moleskin, the large version, not the extra large, like I believe it was last week. I was drawing in my A3. Um, Today I'm drawing in just my regular sized moleskin, and I have Rick, my reference photo of Rick, right in front of me on my small iPad, like this. I've got a little iPad mini, and that's just gonna be my reference photo right in front of me. I recommend all of you to do the same. I cropped. Take a look here. I cropped Rick's photo so that I would have only the essentials. And you will notice that because that photo was taken a little bit from afar, the definition isn't great. But we're not going to let that bother us, because while we're going to go with thin lines, we're just going to have to fill in what we don't exactly see. So that's part of what I really love doing when I have a less than sharp photo to work from. Another thing I needed to tell you is that there's an amazing promo going on at Sketchy right now. 40% off. Okay, let me tell you exactly what it is. If you use the code SAS40, like Sketchy Art School, right? SAS40, you get 40% off two classes. If you buy the two, 40% off any class at Sketchy. It can be mine, it can be anyone teaching right now. Mike Creighton has a great class starting in August. So you can grab any one of those, any one of the Lisa Filion, her beautiful work on Procreate. And also 30 Faces, 30 Days is part of that discount. So it's great. Awesome. Oh my gosh, great, great names that I recognize here. You guys are from all over the world. And I promise my English should be a little better this week. Last week was a little iffy here and there, and I had to revert to French. Hopefully, I won't have to do that today. All right, so I am uncapping my Mont Blanc. As you know, those of you who have attended this before, this Mont Blanc was bequeathed to me by my stepfather, bequeathed to me in 2014, I want to say. And this Mont Blanc is from 1987. And as my mom said when she shipped it to me, this Mont Blanc has written some, or has endorsed some big checks or something like that back when my parents had an advertising agency and they were doing really well. Um, that was the pen apparently. So I'm really glad that I'm going to be using this for drawing. The ink is toffee brown ink, and it's also a Mont Blanc kind of ink. I don't think I'm going to need to reload today. I think I'm good. but it is a brown, not a very dark brown, especially when you start drawing quite a bit, things start getting a little lighter. So yeah, it should have a really nice warm effect against this page. All right, I'm gonna start, guys, and what I need to make sure I have is enough space for these two eyes. The all the wrinkles, which is of course why I absolutely love Rick's photos, because we always have a lot to work with, and this is really what I have the most fun doing. This is a page of my moleskin, by the way, that, let me show you, I've already drawn on but never finished. I consider this a study. This is not something I'm going to exhibit on my walls. So let's go, shall we? I just want to make sure I'm having enough space for both eyes here. Let's see if I can push this even a little closer. Yeah, that could work, right? Can you all see okay? All right. At some point I have to start. I have a separate sheet of paper where I let my pen sort of do its thing. I wipe it. So I'm using the opposite side of my. Oof, this is a shaky line. Look at that. Whoa, that's so shaky. But it doesn't matter. We're gonna cross hatch the heck out of this. It's all right. Okay, porcupine pancake. I absolutely love your name. Okay, so I'm diving right in and putting his eyes into place right there. And because we're using pen, everything that is in negative space, everything that's white is gonna have to, not be drawn. So Cindy is your real name. That's cool. All right, so now I'm using this side of my pen because I'm going on to like a fairly large, thick line. Okay, let me see if I can do this right. Okay. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not aiming for that. I'm just aiming for maybe a few minutes with you where we can just, you know, crosshatch and meditate and just kind of get lost in the process a little bit, which is all I need. So, because it is so vague here around Rick's eye, I'm kind of filling in with what I think is happening. Like the eyelid. We really have a a fairly vague photo to work from, but that, guys, is one of the challenges of, like, for example, drawing commissions and things like that. People submit photos and they're like, oh, here's my baby, or here's my grandfather, and there's very little to work from, and you have to do it. So I'm kind of going, a little bit in the dark, but we've got eyes here. What could go wrong? And I told you that I could spend an hour easily just on eyes. You know me by now. I have no problem doing that. Keep in mind that whatever I'm doing right now is going to be, filled in. Okay, I hope I'm doing this somewhat right. All right. It's very, like, preliminary right now. All right, those of you who are just coming in, keep in mind that we have 40% off 2 classes at Sketchy, any class at all, with the code SAS40. Okay? Yes, freehand drawing, everybody, just like when we write. I could have drawn this in Procreate, I actually thought about it, but I'm thinking, well, okay, you guys have been doing Procreate all month, I gather. And this is maybe a little respite from that. And here we go. I can't help cross-hatching. It's starting, guys. It's starting. So tell me, I think Ute, you are here today. Are you using fountain pen as well? You know that every time I start drawing something in fountain pen now, I'm like, oh, I wish Ute was here to see this. So let me know, Ute, if you are also drawing with a fountain pen, and if yes, which one are you using? And by the way, you know, Anne, Jenny, who are so often, if not always, here with me on Saturdays, I also would like to know if you ladies are using your iPad or any other medium for that matter. I know you've been a little more adventurous. Nikira, I know you've been following pretty much on Saturdays also. So let me know. Marcel, you're here, I notice. It's hard for me to keep up, to see everybody. All right. As we're. No, Nikira, it's great that you're on Procreate. Don't say forgive me. I think it's great. Absolutely. Be on Procreate. I'm telling you, that was kind of like the default avenue I wanted to take, but last minute I started thinking, Ute might want me to do this in fountain pen. Cool, Jenny, you're using fountain pen, okay? And Procreate. Cathy, Serou, fountain pen, great. Let me know what you guys are using. I love knowing. So as I start cross-hatching, my lines are super straight because it doesn't matter. Everything is going to be a build-up of values. And you know, I'm gonna have to flip my sketchbook around quite a bit. Oh, there's the air conditioning outside, kicking in, letting me know that it's there. Okay. This is only so light right now. It's gonna get much, much darker. As I said when I started this, I'm probably gonna spend about an hour on these eyes. Okay, sweet. All right. Oh, Susan, you are also using a Montblanc 149 with sepia. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Susan, would you mind sharing with us what ink you're using? I'm using Montblanc, but I know that people have talked about using other inks with Montblanc. I tend to not want to be too adventurous when it comes to that, but okay, Karen, you're asking me how my kitty is doing. Here's an update. She is sleeping completely sprawled on the sofa in the other room. She, in my opinion, looks very happy. So, yeah, that's the kitty update. She was running around all night last night, just being the nocturnal feline that she is. Yeah, I got woken up several times. No big deal. We know what we get into when we get a kitty, right? It's kind of how it is. All right, so here's the deal with the cross hatching. Because I'm going with such a fine side of my fountain pen, I don't hesitate to just, you know, like cover ground, and then I'll go into all the details. All right, so let me see if I've got an answer from Susan. Omas. Oh, I don't know that brand, Susan, at all. So that's a brand of an ink. Okay. And Donna being brave, also using big ballpoint. Yes, great. All right. Cool. Sanskriti, thank you so much for your comment. That's really nice. I appreciate that. Karine using a fountain pen. Awesome. Okay, Daniel Desnoyers, Plume, Fontaine, Platinum. Interesting. Okay, awesome. And Anthony, who I believe is in PA, right? Anthony, you are using the poor man's fountain pen. That's great. I love pilot pens. I've got a bunch. Love them. And Caroline, Waterman ink. Good. Okay. So I believe anything Waterman, Waterman is from France, but it could be wrong. When I was a kid, that's all that we were using in school is Waterman um, fountain pens. I still have. Maybe I can find it. Geez, if it's not close by, I apologize. Yes, there it is. I still own my seventh grade Waterman fountain pen. There it is. It's all dried up. I have not used it in years, and it doesn't close as well. This broke here, but this is what I used in seventh grade all the way through high school. This little Waterman pen. And I'll say this, one thing that I love about the fact that students use fountain pens, it kind of teaches them to take care of their stuff and not be wasteful. And I don't know, I believe in that. I believe in it taking care of your tools, even if those tools are just to do math and, whatever, geometry or, writing papers. I really believe in taking care of your tools. So yeah, I used that fountain pen for years and it's still with me. And I'm not one to hoard objects at all, but I don't know, just kept it all these years. And in France, we find these in any, papeterie, paper stores for fairly cheap. This was probably less than $10. Which in this country, in the US, spending $10 for a pen is an outrage, but it's just a matter of priorities. I'm in the eyebrow now, kind of making a mess. Yes. All right. Yes, which, what's funny is that I realized that this pen is very much the same age as this one because in seventh grade it would have been for me 86, 87. So that was the school year. So yeah, I guess I'm just realizing that these two pens are the same age. But the quality of the Waterman ink in that was, probably not great because it kept drying and drying. And every time I would grab it, I would have to re-clean it. Whereas what I have in my hand right now is a pen that you can just leave for a week, just horizontally on your desk, and you pick it up and it writes. It's crazy. Awesome, Jenny. I think that's great. How old is your daughter who's getting into fountain pens? Because that's one thing that my daughter started doing when. How old were you, Noha, when you started writing with fountain pens? Maybe like 7. 7 or yes, I was going to say 7 or 8. And same thing. I kind of wanted her to, you know, to get the value of a tool that you have to take good care of. And so my mom, who obviously lived in France when she was still alive, would send her a fountain pen or two and ink. That's the thing that we used to always ask my mom to ship, was ink. I also have my mom's Waterman fountain pen there, but my mom was never much of a fountain pen user. She She liked typing better. Whereas I am always into, making a beautiful R or a beautiful T or an A, like the calligraphy aspect of things. And by the way, I think drawing is basically calligraphy to a certain extent. All right, Jenny, she's 17, so is she gonna start 12th grade, I gather? That sounds like about the right age. It's great. Let me know what kind of fountain pen brand you're going with, Jenny, for her. For Nora, my daughter, we've done Waterman pens, and Anne Anne has an ink obsession. That's good. All right, so guys, you've probably noticed because of course I'm chatting, so it doesn't help progress in any way. But again, because I'm chatting, I'm going very slowly. I want to remind you again that we have a promo at Sketchy. If you want to grab any 2 class with the code SAS40, you get 40% off these days. How about that? I don't know about you, but I'm really excited about Mike's class coming up in August. All right. Excellent. Okay, so Jenny, your daughter likes extra fine nibs. This is not the case, obviously, with this Mont Blanc. That's why I continue flipping it and being very careful when I flip it, because it's actually a medium nib, which is considered fairly broad. And I love it, but when I start doing things like this, unless I drew really like gigantic, I don't think I would be able to use the medium, unless I go, like in the dark of, for example, the eyebrow here, it's very convenient, but other than that, it's very thick. And I love writing with this. Oh, I love this fountain pen. And yeah, it's a luxury. It's like owning a really nice piece of jewelry, but it's a piece of jewelry that's also a tool. Okay. Did you notice that the white of the eyes is still very white? We're gonna take care of that. Okay. No, it is not the correct way to hold a pen. In fact, absolutely not. In fact, I could never write that way, Sanskriti. But you can, if you crosshatch, since you're going like this, it's okay. Yeah. All right. I'm glad that you guys are appreciating the fountain pen. Right on. Okay. Yes, Andy. First of all, Andy, let me say that everything you've produced so far in 30 Faces, 30 Days has been truly beautiful and amazing. And I'm glad that you felt a little challenged by the double portrait of Madeline plus one. I found it challenging too, because I usually don't do, like 2 people in one portrait. So yeah, the challenge was real. All right, cool. Ooh. Yeah, thank you, Kim. That is the reason, the number one reason why I flipped my nib, is because I want to achieve that thinner line. Okay, let me keep going here, because otherwise. So I'm going under the eye here, and keep in mind you don't want that line to touch the iris. Okay. Seriously, Andy. Yes, yeah, Anne agrees. Cool. I love that. It definitely scratches more when you use the back of the nib like this, but all you have to do is make sure that you're not trying to go back and forth. You just do one gesture and it's fine. Okay. And there's also no reason to rush. You can be a lot more deliberate with these lines and just slow yourself down. You're going to find your rhythm, you know. You will. Now I'm going into the white of the eye, because this is where things are not white. You know, that really is what adds realism to an eye, is when you really don't hesitate to darken inside, right? Interesting. Okay. Tessa from Sonoma. I'm glad that you joined, even if it's later. It's okay. Chris, thank you. I tried to make it look easy, although I wouldn't claim that it's easy for me. It's just, it's still work, you know, it really is. It's still definitely a bunch of decisions. I hope everybody's doing okay. What I'm trying to do right now is, you know, try to translate a fairly blurry image, because I've expanded it on my iPad so much that it's actually not very sharp at all. And I'm trying to make that look sharper than it actually is. Okay. Spending a lot of time, of course, on the Western end of things, because I'm right-handed, but I'm about to move east a little bit, okay? Oh, Uta, you you just got here. uh, and no, we are not going to finish the entire face. There's no way. I was saying at the beginning that I might do 2 eyes in 1 hour if we're lucky. And Ute, I am glad you're here, because your name got mentioned quite a bit at the beginning of this, as I was starting to draw with my fountain pen. I can't do a live with a fountain pen without mentioning you, Ute. It's impossible. So grab yours, Ute, and join in if you can, okay? Have a seat at this big table, this big international table that we have going on. And keep in mind, everybody, those of you who just got here, that you can snatch any 2 class, any at all, at Sketchy for 40% off if you use the SAS 40 discount code. Any 2. Okay, we're going to tackle the, the wrinkles under the eyes here and hope for the best. I'm starting very thin, so I'm not too worried about getting this, super exact. You see my lines? They're not super clean. Um, yeah. Keep in mind that today we won't be able to do a face. It could be one of these things where next week I can continue working on this face, but what I really want to focus on is the details of the eyes, the wrinkles, and all these things that I absolutely love doing in cross hatching. Yeah, awesome. Oh, Jenny, I'm so happy you say this. So you've signed up for a bunch of classes thanks to the uh, to to the 40% off discount code that we have. I'm glad to hear that. Awesome. Lisa's new class sounds great. Tiffany, she's so good. Her anatomy class, I have not taken it, but I absolutely love her work. And I also love Margaret's work. What can I say? Margaret, the stuff she does on this craft colored paper, the toned paper is magnificent. She lives so far away. Even if I make it to Canada again one day, I'm gonna be what seems like a world, half a world away from her. Now is a good time in these little wrinkles here to do a little bit of curved hatching to convey that, that little bit of bump, I guess, in the skin, you can call it. And then go straight to there. Right there in that in what becomes a crease, you just do something very, very fine. See, like boop, here too. Not everything is straight line, not everything is curved line, so yeah. Uta, you have a honeymoon to spend? Uta, tell us more. Where in Canada? Did you just get married? Tell us. That's so exciting. I love that. Aww. September honeymoons have to be pretty cool. I've never been on a honeymoon. I'd be curious to know what that's like. So you see we're moving really slowly here. Huh? Definitely taking my time, putting down my lines. Even though it looks like maybe I'm cross-hatching fast, I'm not at all. At all. I'm just trying to create values the best way I can. Okay. I'm reading your nice comments. It's so nice. What I'm doing on the side is using the other side of my nib, which is the right side. It's sort of making lines on the side so that the ink flows better. Yeah. Oh, cool. Vancouver to Calgary if possible. Uta, I really hope you make it happen. I really hope you make it happen. Even if the honeymoon is not right after the wedding, right? Who cares? I really hope you can. Yay. Last time I was in Canada was, when was it, Chris? Last July? A year ago? Right? When we went camping in Nova Scotia? Oh, man, that was nice. How you doing, Nora? Yeah. Yeah. So apparently today Canada is where it's at, right? I wish Rick could stop by. I don't think he knows that we're drawing him today. I mean, he's bound to find out soon, but I didn't tell him. Okay, so we've got one eye, and I've been drawing for over a half hour. Why don't I move on maybe to the next one and make things happen on the eastern side. Let me just finish this a little so that I don't leave a clean line hanging. With cross-hatching, I don't like leaving clean things hanging. I like having a little bit of sketchiness on the edges. Just makes things look a little more interesting. Yep. Like this. Okay. Ba. Did I camp with bears and cougars? Chris, did we camp with bears and cougars? I don't think we ran into a bear, but I heard for the first time in my life, as I think it was that first night there, I heard loons. And that was super cool because we were camping by a lake. And the loons were amazing. So, no, we were not bothered by cougars or anything like that. Plus, I don't think cougars are in Nova Scotia. But yeah, it was a great time. It was great to camp with kids who were friends of, who were the sons and daughters of of Chris's friends. Jeez. And these kids had sketchbooks with them, and they were just drawing. I love that. Daughter was 10, and she had her, her sketchbook, and man, I thought, that's good parenting right there. Okay, so as I quasi promised, we're going to move on to this side of the face, okay? So still using the same approach very thin lines and then slowly building the values. Okay. Okay. Oh, there could be cougars in Nova Scotia. I had no idea. Okay. Maybe that's what it is, Andy. Maybe. You know what? Let's ask the Canadians for these kinds of things because obviously I don't know. Really. What do I know? I'm a French expat, who's never seen a real life cougar, I don't think. All right, so you see where I'm trying to build those dark values. I'm just going in with the normal side of the nib, which is what I'm supposed to do. This just gives me a very dark basis to work from. Here too. Save me some time too. Bless you, Nora. Again, trying to work with very vague lines here and sort of inventing what's not exactly there, but we have that much freedom, I guess. Guys, what color eyes would you say Rick has? Green? I don't think they're brown. Okay, cougars are only in Western Canada, the stuff I learned. That's great. Oh, wow, cool. But there have been sightings of cougars in eastern provinces, so maybe in New Brunswick, in the Maritimes. Oh no, my gosh, Ute, do you hold your pen the same way when drawing or writing? No, when I write, I hold it the right way, which is like this, because I need to go up and down. Whereas when I hold it like this, I can go only in one direction. Otherwise, it would scratch. It would grab. That would be really unbearable. Yeah. Okay, Andy, we are all learning about cougars. I love it. Love it. But we certainly did not run into any when we were in Nova Scotia last year. And boy, we were in nature. Green or hazel? I agree with you, Anthony. I think this is indeed the color of Rick's eyes. We're gonna have to confirm maybe with him. See what he says. Okay. If I were to do a full portrait this way, it would take me hours, and I would say it wouldn't be unusual to spend 6 or 7 hours on a full crosshatch face like this, especially with such a fine pen and at this scale. Because if I had opted for a smaller scale, maybe I wouldn't be spending so much time. But I would say yes. I don't think I could do it in one sitting. I wouldn't want to. But I usually regard these kinds of drawings where I opt to basically stop at the eyes or the nose as studies. You know, for me, they teach me something, and I don't need a sense of completion of the face in order to feel like I've learned something. That's why, that's why in the Drawing with France group in Sketchy Art School, the subtext is finishing is overrated, because I really do believe in not finishing certain things in order to learn something out of them. So I leave things as they are, and I consider this to be the thing I learned today. How to do this eyebrow, how to do these two eyes that would, you know, kind of work together. I don't think this eye is actually really correct. It's a little goofy, but I'm going to keep it as is because I don't have much of an option, do I? No, I don't think I will draw the entire face. I don't think it's possible. Plus, I have limited amount of space on my moleskin. I might continue next week. It'd be great to explore the nose, right? Not sure. Not sure at all. Nope. Just so you know, and maybe you will agree if you have a Mont Blanc in your hand as well. The tip of my nib is barely touching the paper as I'm doing all this. There's barely a contact. I'm not pressing down at all. I'm being extremely gentle with the touch. I'm not rushing anything either. No need. Just really kind of letting the pen dictate how fast I can go, how light I need to stay. Just not forcing the pen to do something that it wouldn't want to do, you know. That's part of how I preserve my tools too, you know. Don't steer them in a direction that they wouldn't want to be going in. Okay, we have about 7 minutes. Yep. Yeah, I believe in not finishing. I am not at all familiar with, I'm going to pronounce them Kaweco fountain pens, but if anybody who is here today is, please, you know, you can bring in your experience. I don't know them at all. I'm only using the one I have. And yeah, Danielle Desnoyers, you're absolutely right. The second eye is always tricky because somehow it can't be bigger, it can't be smaller. Um, Everything is basically dictated by that first one, right? So yes, it is always trickier to go into that second eye. Definitely agree with that. Kathleen, hi, I'm so glad you're here. First of all, I love your work, your paintings. Have you ever used your fountain pen on UPO? UPO? UPO. I don't know what that is. Tell me what that is, Kathleen. I have no idea what this is. Help me out. Keep in mind, you guys, that you are usually more well-versed than I am in, you know, material, technique, names, and things like that, because I never learned any of that stuff. And kind of use the language that I have, which is limited, and certainly not academic. Okay, this second eye is gorgeous too. So remember what we were doing in that wrinkle here? I was going with little curly little lines there to convey the, you know, the fold of the skin a little bit. Mm-hmm. Okay. So maybe Yupo. I don't know what that is, you guys. Help me out. Yupo. It's a kind of paper. Okay. I'd be curious to find out what is special about that paper. If it lends itself for pen work. I know that definitely some papers are better for pen. What we're dealing with here, which is my Moleskine sketchbook, is, yeah, it's definitely up there in tolerance of pen and ink and all that good stuff. So that's why I went with that. But that's what I'm familiar with. But Yupo, I would love to give it a shot. I don't have an art store close to me. The slick paper, okay, cool. Right on. Okay. Oh my gosh, plastic paper. Hi, Robin. So glad you're here. That's great. I'm learning so much about these supplies here, guys. Hmm. Okay. Maybe I need to start spending money on supplies. Right, it's getting to be 1 o'clock. How is everybody doing? Did you guys cross hatch? Yeah? Cool. Again, whether you were cross hatching on paper or doing anything on Procreate, this this particular time, this Saturday at noon, that we've been doing since mid-March now, is just time to draw whatever medium you guys choose. I don't mind at all. What matters to me is that we all come to this place and we sketch together, right? And share things like this. Like, for example, I had no idea about this Yupo paper, plastic paper. My goodness, I don't know how I feel about that, but it must be great. It must be great because you want under your nib. I think Kathleen was right to mention it. You want something that slides. If you have a paper that grabs, you're just gonna have such a hard time, especially with what I'm doing, using the other side of the nib. Yep. Karen, yes, yes, Susan, you're all geeking out and I love it. I'm not gonna complain, right? Um, yeah, absolutely. I do plan on continuing these into August because it looks as though I am not going to France anytime soon, since travels from the US has been banned in the EU. So I'm not going to see my family. So it looks as though I'll be here. Right here at this desk. Yeah, it really is weird times for families right now, I gotta tell you. I wanted to be near my stepfather in his post-surgery like recovery right now. He had surgery on the face, and I can't be there. Right, let me just crosshatch here to somehow, meet a little bit in the middle here. Okay, that's better. Okay, so obviously we're nowhere near finished. You will agree, but I've got two eyes, and they are ricks, and they're looking at us. I believe they are. I want to believe that I made them somehow. Yeah. looking in our direction. The eyebrows are not finished. Far from it. I can suggest where they're going here. Right. Did you notice I didn't do much flipping around of of the sketchbook? I think that's kind of unusual for me. I would usually just constantly flip things around. Keep in mind, everybody, that whether you want to continue learning a little bit about cross hatching or whether you want to take any other class in Sketchy at shopsketchy.com basically, and join us on Sketchy Art School, you can grab any two class for 40% off with the code SAS40. So yeah, I wish Rick was more expressive. Ah ha ha, Chris. Yeah, yeah, and my stepfather's is doing the best he can alone now without my mom. It's tricky. I feel like I have a responsibility to be there, but can't do it. Okay, guys. Why don't we walk away from this right now? And we're going to post in Sketchy Art School, SAS, under Drawing with France, which is my group. As you know, it's free to join if you haven't joined yet. So, Ute, quickly, just so you know, I'm going to show you how the photo was on my iPad. You see, I did zoom in quite a bit. That's the size of my iPad, basically. It covered the screen. So I did have quite a bit of zooming in order to see better. But as I zoomed in, of course, I lost a lot of, sharpness in the photo. But that's fine. Okay. Gustavo, that's a very good question. How do we do the beard? We just do it slowly, laboriously. It is not going to be something that takes even an hour or two. This would be like the long haul, I would say, the beard. Yeah, and I wouldn't hesitate because there are some dark spots to use the other side of the nib to get that medium, going. So that's how I would do it. Okay, guys, so thank you, Karen. I appreciate you and so many people who are here. I see Anthony is, going, yeah, Rick is dull, of course, right? That's why we use him as a muse all the time. So what you see here is the remnants of an older drawing that I did for my class that was drawing at home with France back in May. Um, okay, thank you, everybody. And guess what? We're going to do this again next week, right? Is next week going to be August already? I want to say yes. Wow, I can't believe. So we did this March, Mars, Avril, May, Juin, Juillet. So it's been a while. I think this is the 20th live that I've done continuous. There was one week I didn't. All right, so thank you everybody for being here. Okay, I'm just going to flip back quickly. Wrong one. There we go. All right, here we go. And thank you for being there. Those of you who are here week after week, I thank you so much for your, I don't want to say loyalty, but for just putting your trust in, the kinds of drawings that I make, and hopefully it brings you as much joy as it brings me. So everyone, why don't we do this again next week? I might continue with this. Why not? Or those of you who would like to see another medium, if you would rather I did something in ballpoint or pencil, I'm totally open for that. Okay? Merci everyone. Bye, and I'll see you next week. All right, I'm gonna go like, Miss Piggy. Okay, everyone, have a great week, okay? Mwah. Besos, abrazos. Ciao.